I am optimistic. I'm generally a very optimistic person. Stuff to do with family overwhelms me quite a bit. You know, worry or stress around family side of things, that does.
For Camilla, this is not merely a personal adjustment, but a reminder that royal roles change with each generation. The privileges tied to one reign rarely transfer unchanged to the next, and the future king's priorities inevitably reshape expectations. Standing calmly within this unfolding drama is Princess Anne, whose measured silence continues to draw attention. Known for her unwavering commitment to duty, and has long embodied the principle that the monarchy survives through discipline rather than sentiment. Her lack of public reaction to shifting dynamics is interpreted by some observers as a quiet acknowledgement of necessary change. Throughout her life, she has watched the institution weather crises, scandals, and generational transitions, always returning to the core values of service and responsibility. In this context, Anne's composed presence acts as a stabilizing force, reinforcing the notion that reforms, however subtle, are part of preserving continuity. Her perspective, shaped by decades of experience, suggests that adaptation is not a betrayal of tradition, but its evolution. As discussions continue, the broader implications become clear. William's approach points toward a monarchy centered on a compact core, himself, Catherine, and their children, supported by a limited number of dedicated working royals. In such a structure, extended relatives without official duties naturally step back. The reported decision involving Camilla's grandson therefore symbolizes more than a family adjustment. It illustrates a long-term blueprint. This blueprint emphasizes relevance, efficiency, and public service, ensuring that the monarchy remains aligned with contemporary expectations. For the public, it signals accountability. For the palace, it marks preparation for the next reign. And for those quietly observing, including Princess Anne, it represents another chapter in the ongoing transformation of one of the world's oldest institutions. As Windsor's historic walls continue to witness these subtle yet significant shifts, the future of the monarchy is being shaped not by dramatic declarations, but by thoughtful, deliberate choices that place duty above sentiment and clarity above complexity, guiding the crown into a new and carefully defined era. The quiet grounds of Windsor, long associated with continuity and tradition, now become the backdrop for subtle yet defining transformation in royal dynamics. As Prince William's influence steadily expands, his commitment to reshaping the monarchy into a more focused and disciplined institution begins to manifest in increasingly noticeable ways. The reported distancing of Queen Camilla's grandson from Windsor is not presented as a dramatic expulsion, but rather as part of a calculated shift toward clearer boundaries. In William's emerging philosophy, proximity to royal residences carries symbolic weight, representing belonging within the operational core of the monarchy. When that proximity changes, it reflects more than logistical adjustment. It signals evolving priorities about who embodies the public-facing responsibilities of the crown. This moment illustrates a leadership style that favors structure over sentiment, reinforcing the belief that modern monarchy must justify itself through purpose, service, and accountability rather than extended familial inclusion alone. For Queen Camilla, this development sits within a broader narrative of transition. Her ascent from controversial outsider to respected queen was one of the most remarkable transformations in modern royal history, achieved through patience, resilience, and gradual acceptance. Over time, her family became quietly integrated into selected royal gatherings, symbolizing reconciliation and stability. However, William's approach introduces a more disciplined framework where personal relationships are carefully separated from institutional roles. The adjustment regarding her grandson reflects the reality that privileges connected to one monarch's reign do not automatically carry forward into the next. This is not necessarily a personal rejection, but rather a structural refinement, aligning the royal household with a streamlined vision that reduces ambiguity about representation. In a monarchy built on symbolism, even a subtle shift in residence or access can redefine perceptions about authority and belonging. Princess Anne's presence within this evolving story adds a layer of quiet significance. Known for her unwavering dedication and preference for action over commentary, and has long been regarded as the embodiment of duty within the royal family. Her silence amid changing dynamics is interpreted by observers as meaningful, suggesting careful observation rather than opposition. Having witnessed decades of transformation, from public crises to generational transitions, and understand that adaptation is essential for survival, Her alignment with values of responsibility and restraint mirrors William's philosophy, emphasizing that the monarchy's credibility depends on discipline. By maintaining her composed stance, she reinforces the idea that reforms, even those affecting family arrangements, are part of safeguarding institutional integrity. The broader context reveals that William's vision centers on a compact, clearly defined working royal group. In this model, the focus shifts toward individuals with direct public responsibilities, while extended relatives without official roles gradually step back from the inner circle. The reported decision involving Camilla's grandson therefore becomes a symbolic step toward that streamlined structure. It underscores William's intention to minimize complexity and present a cohesive image to the public. This approach reflects lessons drawn from past controversies, where blurred boundaries sometimes created confusion about who represented the monarchy. By tightening these boundaries, William aims to reinforce legitimacy and ensure that every visible figure contributes to the institution's purpose. As these developments unfold, the monarchy stands at a moment of quiet redefinition. King Charles continues his reign, yet the future is increasingly shaped by William's strategic planning. Decisions made now, regarding residences, appearances, and proximity, lay the groundwork for the next era. For Camilla, the transition requires balancing personal connections with institutional evolution. It is another chapter in a lifetime of observing change while upholding duty. And for the public, the story illustrates how the monarchy adapts without dramatic announcements, relying instead on symbolic gestures that gradually reshape its structure. Within Windsor's historic walls, tradition and reform move side by side, and the reported distancing of a single family member becomes part of a larger narrative, a monarchy preparing for a future defined by clarity, efficiency, and disciplined leadership. The atmosphere surrounding Windsor continues to shift, not through dramatic declarations but through subtle, calculated adjustments that reveal the direction of Prince William's leadership. As conversations about Queen Camilla's extended family grow more prominent, the reported distancing of a grandson becomes part of a broader transformation unfolding within royal circles. William's approach reflects a belief that the monarchy must evolve to remain credible in a modern world where public scrutiny is relentless and expectations of accountability are higher than ever. In this environment, symbolic gestures, who lives where, who appears alongside senior royals, and who receives informal privileges, carry enormous weight. By redefining access to Windsor, William appears to be sending a quiet but unmistakable message. The future monarchy will revolve around duty, clarity, and defined roles rather than informal inclusion. This shift is not sudden but the result of years of observation and preparation. William has watched how blurred boundaries sometimes complicated the monarchy's image, creating confusion about representation and responsibility. His response is to build a structure that emphasizes a clear hierarchy, where only those actively contributing to public service remain close to the institution's core. Within this framework, extended family members, however personally cherished, naturally move toward the periphery if they do not hold official duties. The adjustment involving Camilla's grandson therefore becomes less about personal relationships and more about institutional coherence. It signals a leadership style focused on long-term sustainability, ensuring that the monarchy presents a unified and disciplined image to the public. For Queen Camilla, the development represents another stage in a complex journey within the royal family. Her acceptance was hard-earned, and her family's gradual inclusion symbolized reconciliation and stability during King Charles's reign. Yet generational change inevitably reshapes expectations. As William prepares for the future, emotional considerations must align with structural priorities. The quiet recalibration surrounding her grandson underscores a reality that royal influence is tied not only to personal bonds but also to evolving institutional needs. Camilla's experience highlights how each new era redraws boundaries, redefining who stands at the center and who observes from the edges. Princess and composed presence continues to anchor this unfolding story. Known for her unwavering work ethic and preference for discretion, she embodies the values that William seeks to emphasize. Her silence amid shifting dynamics is interpreted as thoughtful observation, reinforcing the sense that reforms are being approached carefully rather than impulsively. And has witnessed numerous transitions, and her calm demeanor suggests confidence in the monarchy's ability to adapt. In her world, loyalty to duty outweighs personal preference, and a quiet alignment with institutional priorities adds depth to the narrative of change. As these subtle adjustments accumulate, the broader picture becomes clearer. William is shaping a monarchy defined by a compact core, himself, Catherine, and their children, supported by a select group of working royals. In such a structure, extended relatives without formal roles naturally step back from the spotlight. The reported distancing from Windsor thus reflects a strategic step toward that streamlined vision. It is a reminder that the monarchy evolves through incremental decisions rather than sweeping reforms. Behind the historic walls of Windsor, tradition and transformation move together, and each quiet change contributes to a future where clarity, responsibility, and disciplined leadership define the crown's next chapter. The unfolding dynamics within Windsor continue to reflect a monarchy quietly redefining itself for a new generation. As Prince William's authority strengthens, every decision, no matter how understated, begins to shape expectations about the future structure of royal life. The reported distancing of Queen Camilla's grandson from Windsor fits into this broader evolution, emphasizing a shift toward a more disciplined and clearly defined inner circle. William's philosophy centers on the idea that the monarchy must demonstrate purpose and relevance, and this requires distinguishing between those who actively serve the institution and those connected through personal ties alone. In this context, access to royal residences becomes symbolic of responsibility, and changes to that access send subtle but powerful signals about the priorities guiding the next era. Observers note that such adjustments are rarely abrupt. Instead, they unfold gradually through small yet meaningful decisions. Invitations become more selective, appearances more carefully curated, and living arrangements more structured. These steps collectively reinforce William's vision of a streamlined monarchy, one that minimizes ambiguity and maximizes accountability. The recalibration surrounding Camilla's family reflects this strategy, highlighting the importance of clarity in public representation. By tightening the boundaries of the royal household, William aims to protect the institution from confusion and ensure that its public image aligns with contemporary expectations. This disciplined approach suggests that the future king is preparing the monarchy to operate with greater efficiency and transparency. For Queen Camilla, the situation underscores the complexities of generational transition within royal life. Her rise to acceptance brought her family into closer proximity with the crown, symbolizing unity and reconciliation. Yet as William shapes his own blueprint, those informal arrangements naturally evolve. The quiet shift regarding her grandson illustrates how personal relationships must adapt to institutional priorities. While not necessarily a reflection of conflict, it highlights a balancing act between compassion and structure that defines modern royal leadership. Camilla's experience demonstrates that each reign redraws boundaries, and the next chapter of the monarchy will be guided by a different set of expectations. Princess Anne's role in this narrative remains defined by her characteristic restraint. Her silence, combined with her unwavering dedication to duty, provides a stabilizing presence amid change. Having witnessed numerous transformations, and understands that adaptation is essential for preserving credibility. Her calm observation suggests confidence in a carefully managed transition rather than resistance to reform. In the royal world, where gestures often speak louder than words, her composed demeanor reinforces the perception that the monarchy's evolution is both deliberate and necessary. As these subtle developments continue, the broader picture becomes increasingly clear. Prince William is crafting a future monarchy centered on a compact, focused group committed to public service. Extended relatives without defined roles gradually step back, not out of exclusion but as part of a structured approach designed to enhance legitimacy. The reported change involving Camilla's grandson therefore represents more than a single decision. It symbolizes a larger transformation underway. Within Windsor's historic walls, tradition and reform are moving together, shaping an institution that seeks to balance heritage with modern expectations. Each quiet adjustment contributes to a narrative of disciplined leadership, where the crown's future is guided by clarity, responsibility, and the careful shaping of a new royal era. As the narrative continues to unfold behind the historic walls of Windsor, the implications of Prince William's tightening vision for the monarchy grow increasingly significant. What once appeared to be minor adjustments now form a consistent pattern, one that reflects a deliberate effort to redefine proximity, influence, and responsibility within royal life. The reported distancing of Queen Camilla's grandson becomes another piece in this evolving puzzle, illustrating how the future king is quietly shaping a more structured institution. In William's emerging model, symbolism matters deeply. Residence, attendance, and association all communicate hierarchy. By refining who remains close to Windsor's operational center, he signals a commitment to a monarchy defined by service rather than extended familial inclusion. This transformation also highlights a broader generational shift in leadership style. Whereas previous eras often blended personal relationships with institutional roles, William appears determined to create clearer boundaries. The monarchy, in his view, must demonstrate efficiency and accountability to maintain public trust. That philosophy turns even subtle decisions into strategic messages, limiting informal access, reducing peripheral involvement, and focusing attention on a core working group all contribute to a streamlined structure. The adjustment surrounding Camilla's family therefore reflects not conflict but recalibration, an effort to ensure that every visible connection to the crown reinforces its purpose. Queen Camilla's position within this changing environment remained complex. Her decades-long journey toward acceptance brought her family into occasional proximity with royal traditions, symbolizing unity during King Charles's reign. Yet as William prepares for the future, those informal arrangements naturally evolve. The reported shift involving her grandson underscores a reality that each new era introduces different priorities. Personal bonds remain, but institutional clarity takes precedence. For Camilla, this moment represents the delicate balance between maintaining family ties and adapting to the disciplined framework shaping the monarchy's next chapter. Princess's quiet observation continues to add depth to the unfolding story. Known for her unwavering dedication to duty, she embodies the values of restraint and responsibility that align closely with William's approach. Her silence, far from neutral, is often interpreted as thoughtful acknowledgement of necessary change. Having witnessed decades of royal transitions and understands that continuity depends on adaptation, her composed presence reinforces a perception that the monarchy's evolution is being managed carefully, guided by experience and a commitment to preserving credibility. Taken together, these subtle developments point toward a monarchy gradually redefining itself. William's vision centers on a compact, focused core supported by a small circle of working royals, while extended relative without defined roles step back from the inner sphere. The reported distancing from Windsor thus becomes symbolic of a larger transformation, one that prioritizes clarity, efficiency, and public legitimacy. Within the timeless setting of Windsor, tradition and reform move side by side, shaping an institution preparing for its next era. Each quiet decision contributes to a broader narrative of disciplined leadership, where the crown's future is guided not by dramatic declarations, but by thoughtful, deliberate choices that place duty above sentiment and structure above ambiguity. As the quiet evolution inside Windsor deepens, the narrative surrounding Prince William's leadership grows more defined, revealing a deliberate strategy aimed at reshaping the monarchy for long-term stability. The reported distancing of Queen Camilla's grandson from Windsor is increasingly viewed not as an isolated event, but as part of a consistent pattern of structural refinement. William's approach emphasizes that the monarchy must present a disciplined and purposeful image to maintain relevance in a rapidly changing world. By narrowing the circle of those closely associated with royal residences, he signals a shift away from informal inclusivity toward clearly defined roles. In this context, Windsor becomes more than a historic home. It transforms into a symbolic center of operational authority, where proximity reflects responsibility. This subtle recalibration underscores William's belief that clarity strengthens credibility, ensuring that the monarchy remains aligned with public expectations while preserving its institutional dignity. The broader transformation also reflects William's evolving leadership style, one shaped by observation and experience. Having witnessed how blurred boundaries sometimes complicated royal messaging, he appears determined to introduce a more structured hierarchy. Every decision, who attends private gatherings, who appears alongside senior royals, and who maintains residence access, contributes to this framework. The adjustment involving Camilla's family fits seamlessly into this vision, reinforcing a streamlined model where only those actively contributing to royal duties remain at the core. Such discipline, while subtle, carries long-term implications. It signals a monarchy moving toward efficiency, where symbolism is carefully managed and public representation is tightly controlled. This careful balancing of tradition and reform reflects a leader preparing for the responsibilities of kingship with measured precision. Queen Camilla's role within this changing landscape remains nuanced. Her acceptance within the royal family marked a significant turning point, and her family's occasional presence symbolized unity during King Charles's reign. However, As William's influence expands, those arrangements evolve to reflect new priorities. The quiet shift regarding her grandson illustrates how generational change reshapes expectations. Personal relationships remain valued, yet institutional structure takes precedence. For Camilla, this moment highlights a delicate balance between familial loyalty and the demands of a modernized monarchy. It is a reminder that royal life is constantly adapting, with each new era redefining boundaries and responsibilities. Princess Anne's calm observation continues to anchor the unfolding story. Renowned for her dedication and discretion, she embodies the principles of duty and restraint that underpin the monarchy's stability. Her silence amid these developments is widely interpreted as thoughtful acknowledgement rather than indifference. Having navigated decades of royal transitions and understand that evolution is essential for survival, her composed presence reinforces a sense that changes are being implemented carefully, guided by experience and respect for tradition. In the royal world, such quiet signals carry meaning, suggesting continuity even as structures evolve. Taken together, these developments paint a picture of a monarchy gradually redefining itself. Prince William's vision centers on a compact, focused core supported by a limited group of working royals, while extended relatives without formal roles move naturally toward the periphery. The reported distancing from Windsor thus becomes symbolic of a broader transformation, one that prioritizes clarity, efficiency, and accountability. Within the timeless setting of Windsor, tradition and reform continue to coexist, shaping an institution preparing for its next chapter. Each measured decision contributes to a narrative of disciplined leadership, where the future of the crown is guided by thoughtful strategy rather than dramatic declarations, ensuring that the monarchy enters a new era defined by responsibility, structure, and enduring relevance.